Hey, so today I want to talk quickly give a little bit about boundaries, um, and thinking about how to set them, how to create boundaries, and how to stick to boundaries. For us, boundaries can be really difficult. For me, they've been really difficult throughout my entire life so far. And so, what I really try to do to create boundaries is to focus on the feeling that this boundary will give me. So, if I'm in an unhealthy relationship and I have split with my partner, my boundary is I no longer want to get back together with them. That's the boundary, but what's more important besides that sentence is the feeling of either being with that person or not being with the person. So, to make a boundary stick, what we want to do is focus on the feeling that the boundary will give. So, if in my relationship I feel stifled, I feel like I can't say or be who I am, or I feel like I'm, not being seen or invisible or whatever it may be, what I want to focus on is how, if I'm no longer in that relationship, I can do what I want to do. I can go out and be crazy, go dancing, not come home and get yelled at for going out with my friends. These kinds of feelings are the ones you want to marinate in. And this can be anything from personal life to work life to family to friends. Setting boundaries is really difficult because sometimes we feel guilty about doing it. Sometimes we're scared of rejection by doing it. Sometimes we're scared of the reaction that we'll get from people by doing it. But what we really need to do is honor ourselves and focus on the feelings that we want to feel, that we know that we deserve to feel. Because if we don't feel like a prized possession, right, if we don't feel like we even deserve to be taken care of in a sense, then setting the boundary may not be something we can even begin to do. So, to set a boundary, we first have to know that we are something that can be cared for, be something valuable. That's number one. To set a boundary, we have to know that. We have to know that we are worth it. Number two, to think about what the boundary is that we need, right? We either need not to speak to somebody again. We maybe need to quit a job. We maybe need to, hang out with certain people maybe twice a month as opposed to every week. Specific boundaries. And then to stick to the boundary, we really have to focus on the feeling of what that boundary gives us, the power of that boundary, in a way. So those are the three things for me, and it is really helpful to write them down. So one, to create the boundary, pretty much three people in your life right now who you need to create a boundary with. There is something out there, and you have to cut it down. You have to take care of yourself in some situation. Write down those three people. Next to those three people, write down the boundary. Next to the boundary, write down the actions you can take to create the boundary. But then the best part is the last column, which is the feeling that having those boundaries in place will create for you. Because the more you focus on that feeling, the less likely it is that you'll return back to not feeling so great, like you did in the beginning that caused you to create the boundary in the first place. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. Let me know.